Listen, Steve,
What
my
kind
pie
of pie
was...
are you making?
He made a sloppy, oily pie. A sloppy, oily pie. Does that sound good?
Here's the thing. No, my pie was... It was
Sloppy
And oily.
and oily.
You sprayed both sides of the bread.
It was butter.
It was not butter. It was spray.
I can't believe it's not butter because it's spray.
Okay, it was oily, all right? There was a little oil to the texture.
Chef Dyke Michael's making food, and he's making comedy too. Thaddeus J. McKee is co-hosting with the guy I mentioned previously. Sauce Boss Zach's on the 1 to 2, so good he calls them 2s and 3s. And as always, there's a guest who'll be sure to please on Harder Brunch.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels, and with me, as always, my co-host, Thaddeus J. McKee.
I'm on one today, Dyke.
Yeah?
I'm on one.
That's a new catchphrase.
Yes.
I like it. I'm on one.
I'm on one.
Is it like and one?
It is like, and when I did watch the documentary, it was great. Shout out to the professor. He's still doing his thing. Hot sauce, sorry you're not still in the NBA. But anyways, long story short, I'm on one.
All right. And always on one, on the wheels of steel, the Sauce Boss of Indianapolis, and the last woke dragon. Give it up for Zach Rohn.
Slappy peppy wah wah.
Hey!
Zach, I gotta tell you, I don't mean to get you shook here. I don't want you to get scared, but I was reached out to by somebody this week who might possibly be coming on the show, who's claiming to be the Sauce Boss of Ohio.
Oh.
I don't know if there's going to be a problem or beef in the streets.
Is it just going to be a fight episode?
A sauce fight episode?
Yeah.
It might be.
We should box.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Did you want to be the sauce boss of Indiana or the Midwest? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Well, I think that's next, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be the progression.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll see if Zach said he's going to hit a lady. And then a very, very special guest with us in studio, the co-founder of Tinker Coffee in Indianapolis, Steve Hall.
Hey.
What's up?
I went backwards. I was going to say your name first, and then I said it perfectly in the intro. And then I went, wait, what are we doing?
Hold up.
So this is I usually say returning champion, but I have to go deep into the archives for this because outside of you and me, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you were one of like the first 3 guests ever on Harder Brunch.
Really?
Man.
Original.
Imagine that.
Original. So what we did was you were with the original host. We don't say his name. And we actually came to you. We came to Tinker Coffee, and I brought a little fryer, and we made beignets. And this is back when we would just do one thing because I only had enough money to do beignets. And and we had some wonderful Tinker Coffee and beignets in the warehouse there on 16th Street. And you guys, I believe, had just moved over there, or
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, like late 18. We got in there.
and and you were just kind of going over like you had all these big plans for expansion and all this fun stuff you're going to do. And little did we all know that in a few months the world was going to fall apart.
God bless it.
But that's like a lost episode. So this is kind of your official first time back, but we know that it's been 3 years in the making. So, guys, everybody give it up for Steve Hall, everybody.
Steve Hall.
Thank you. It's so great to be here, you guys. Back in the stew.
Did you have fun at the boil today?
Oh my God. It was incredible.
It was incredible.
Yeah, it was, I learned how to like appropriately dismember a crawdad and eat it.
Who taught you?
Who?
Zach,
Was it
right?
Zach?
I forget who taught it.
Zach taught me too. Like was he going around teaching people how to do it? What was happening?
Yeah.
I do that on the side. Yeah, I give crawfish lessons.
Fish lesson.
You wouldn't think there's a lot of demand, but there is.
Do you do online classes?
Yeah, no, we do have an online course.
He's like Johnny Appleseed, but with the crawfish.
So that means you can check out our YouTube right now. Go to our YouTube if you're watching this, and he will show you how to dismember innocent crawdad.
Go ahead and make that video real quick before this podcast comes out too, Zach. It's a real quick dismemberment video. And so you came on a great day. It was an event day. Crawfish, seafood boil, Harder Brunch seafood boil. And we have a lot of people off camera here in studio that are literally still eating crawfish. We had wink. We had the wonderful Jake Johnson.
Oh my gosh!
House bartender. Can you jump on mic real quick and just say hi, Jake?
Come sit on my lap. Get on the camera. Okay, no.
I'm on Thad's lap right now. Yeah. It's very soft, very supple.
Jake, this is now the second event that you bartended for. I feel like you've become the official Harder Brunch bartender.
Happy to be here. Always happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And real quick, tell us about that special cocktail that you made.
So, we had a couple different options. You offered me a bunch of booze that you had from our Four Freedoms. An official sponsor yet?
Unofficial.
No, unofficial.
Yeah.
Still hoping for Four Freedoms to reach out to Harder Brunch. With that sponsorship, we've been using your product quite a bit. Four Freedoms, hit us up. But I made a specific drink for this particular occasion. If you haven't had a French 75 before, a French 75 is gin, lemon juice, a little bit of simple, a little Prosecco on top. I actually found out in New Orleans that French 75 is actually made with cognac.
Oh.
They consider in New Orleans a real French 75 is made with cognac instead of gin, but a lot of more diluted, dumbed-down versions have French 75 having gin. So chances are if you've had a French 75 in this country, it's containing gin. So we went with a French 75 riff, which was gin, Four Freedoms gin. Shouts out to Four Freedoms. A little bit of lemon juice. And I made a champagne and corncob simple syrup.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's the most Indiana thing I've
Bring
ever
it
heard.
on home.
It really is.
So
That's Hoosier Bougie right
that's
there.
what I'm saying. So we're going to call it like a Hoosier 75. Maybe a Nebraskan 75. They
Okay.
produce more corn than Indiana does. Believe it or not, Indiana, not that much corn in the wake of the rest of the country. But we're going to call it a Hoosier 75 for the sake of Harder Brunch.
Okay.
So it was gin, a little bit of that corn cob, champagne simple syrup, lemon juice, topped with Prosecco. Seemed to be a pretty popular accoutrement on top of the seafood boil. Everything was amazing. I hope everybody enjoyed the beverages.
Oh, it was so good.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Jake Johnson, everybody. Thank you so much.
Jake Johnson.
Yeah, so kind of, Zach, I feel like Zach really took the lead. Zach came in with a lot of seafood boil energy about a month ago.
Boiling over.
He was boiling over.
Yeah.
And he did like one with your family, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're from, well, the family my sister married into is from Mississippi. And so they come up and they do seafood boils, and they do that all the time through the summer.
I think like it'd probably been about, it had been a grip since, I mean, it's been like probably about pushing 10 years since I did a seafood boil, or been to one. I'd never actually cooked one before. And you had so much fun doing it. You're like, we got to do a Harder Brunch seafood boil. And I think good call.
Yeah, no, I think it went off very well.
Yeah, well,
I was very happy.
It went so good. I did not know you were losing your seaginity?
My seaginity?
Seaginity of cooking. Like,
because I never cooked a boil before. Yeah, I never actually.
And my question for you is, like, how do you feel when you're cooking something for the first time for a bunch of people? Because that could go really bad.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's what we did in school, right? In school, we did a bunch of stuff for the first time. And, like, when you're learning, usually, sometimes it does go bad, right? And then you're like, oh, I know how to do it better the next time. So, whenever you cook something, for the first time, you're always like, I could do that better the next time. Mm-hmm. But, like, I feel like I'm to the point now where, like, I'm just smart enough usually to wing it, you know, like, even if it's something I've never done before. Yeah. And between me and Zach, like if I really, really fuck something up, Zach's there to, like, check me and vice versa. So it's like there's a checks and balances between me and Zach that if we fuck something up together, then, like, we shit the bed.
It was supposed to be fucked up.
It was supposed to be fucked up. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And with the seafoods, you can't really wing it. You gotta gill it. Hit that boo button for me.
Yeah,
I knew that was coming. I knew the boo button was coming.
Gill it. I mean, fin it would have been better. I mean, like, that was rough. And then so one of my favorite go-to, I think probably seasonally we do some sort of riff on New Orleans, starting with the beignets.
Say we got a theme going.
And so we did beignets. We did some hush puppies. You did a remoulade. And it was good, man. It was good. It was a fun time. I did feel weird about putting a giant bucket of beer outside on the... I was just like...
So you felt weirder about that than just dumping a bunch of food on the table?
On
No,
newspapers?
Yeah.
Because in my head, when the beer was just out there unattended, I was like, is there anything stopping, like, a child from walking by and just be like, oh, free hams.
Oh.
Street hams.
Street hams.
Yeah.
Well, I roped off the street.
But I also forgot that tomorrow's Labor Day, so I was just like, it seemed a lot weirder that we were doing it, and now that I'm realizing that it was Labor Day weekend, I was like, oh yeah, nobody cares. The firefighters gave us a honk on the way by. They liked it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It did not look like a happy honk.
No, it was like, get out of the way.
It looked like a honk,
Jealousy?
enraged of jealousy. Mm-hmm. I understand where firefighters are coming from with that.
Do you?
Honk. Yeah, they're jealous.
Yeah,
They're known to be jealous.
That's what they
if
say.
you're a firefighter, you're a jealous person.
Yeah, you got to go pull like somebody out of a burning building, other people having to seafood boil.
Comes from a place of deep insecurity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why are the cops
That
always
sounds-
making the news? I went up to the third story, full burning bush. I think that's what they call the houses. They call the houses bushes. Can you fact check me on that, Zach? I think I might be wrong.
Nope, yep, that's 100%. That's a full burning bush.
So, Steve, on event days, we always seem to drink more than on non-event
weird
days.
how that works out.
Yeah. That we get really into the minutia of burning bushes before we even talk to the guests. That's kind of par for the course.
Burning Bushes was actually my middle school band. We were canceled.
It was a Christian rock band.
It was a Christian rock band. They were not happy with the nudity. I'll just be honest with you.
Sounds like a feminist protest.
Yeah.
No, all right.
Not against
No.
What are you saying?
You're
then?
pulling me down into the bad joke mire with you. So what's going on?
I think
I see you doing it, and I'm like, I want to do it too now. Let's all get canceled. 10 minutes into this show. So anyway, you have a coffee empire. He's like, don't.
I just want to talk more about these French 75s, man. Oh my god. Woo. Yeah, those are so good.
So we were both trying to like recall what we talked about 3 years ago, which is, I mean, weird because I always remember everything I talk about 3 years ago.
Of course.
But I do remember that. So I guess I'll start off here. From my history with you was when did Tinker first start? Like what year did you guys first start?
2014.
So we'd started the food truck right around the same time, and I remember that we ended up kind of doing a lot of like we always were like right next to each other.
So
at
you
a
pulled
few
up like
events.
right across the street from the old roastery.
Yeah, like we would either be like parked outside or we would be like at events together. It seemed like we were kind of like always like right around there. And one of the things I think people don't realize, like when you're doing events or whatever, no matter how good your product is, you always want the other thing that somebody makes. So it's just like we had burgers, and so you had coffee, and it was just like that's the one thing. I'd have no coffee on here. I was like, I want some coffee, and then it just fortunately for us, you guys make amazing coffee. Like it could have been a thing of just like, oh, like sorry. I guess I have to address that.
I was trying to be professional and act like it didn't happen, but I couldn't.
I feel like I just quantum leaped.
I was like, are we in a different time zone?
But no, like I mean, and I'll say this in all sincerity, like there's a lot of great coffee in the city, and I don't want to like put anybody up against each other. But Tinker's always been my favorite. I think it's I think for me maybe bold flavor, low acidity. I don't know. Like when I drink Tinker, I don't get like jittery, and I don't have like acid reflux.
Yeah,
Two great things.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
It's just always like good bold flavor. It gives me like the exact amount of like caffeine like wake up that I want, and I don't feel like shit later in the day.
There you go. That's it. That's all we hope for.
But we would do these events, and it would be like, oh man, there's great coffee there, or like, oh, we know these guys across the street. And then I think you guys came and did like the Irvington Halloween Festival with us, and but like starting off, it was like you guys were pretty small operation. Like you guys were there off like 10th Street, right?
16th Street.
Or 16th Street.
Yeah, 16th and Delaware.
But it was small, right? Like the first place.
Yeah, it was like 1,500 square feet, just like an old house.
Yeah.
Someone was living
Really?
in before we took over and made it a roastery.
And I feel like up until then, I can't think of any other big, huge like local roasteries that were around. Like roasteries always were kind of like small, and it was kind of like, yeah, people are doing this thing, and it's going to be kind of small, but it was always so good. And then flash forward to 2019, and it like the leaps and bounds between 2014 and 2019. You guys were in a full warehouse space.
Yeah.
further down on 16th Street.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, like coffee followed the same trajectory that beer and spirits and restaurants and you name it have, followed in Indy. Everybody's just like leveled up year after year after year. And so we got lucky in that we knew that there was an opportunity for someone to do coffee really well. Like Indy needed great coffee because it had all these great things happening in food and beverage. And so, yeah, we just kind of committed to let's make this thing as, best we can. And people were ready to respond to it, I think.
And what was your like entry into coffee? Like, what was it like? How did you get into it?
Well, I mean, I drank coffee growing up, like as growing up, like in college, I guess. But I didn't know too much about specialty coffee until I started hanging out with Jeff, who's my business partner and brother-in-law. So he would travel around. He was working at IBM, travel around to coffee, like different cities and see these, cool coffee cultures. And he would bring coffee back and like share it with us. And that kind of got me into specialty coffee. And then we just started talking about the business idea. This was like this thing that we liked because we're like, big wine guys. We like food and drink, like most folks in this room. So coffee was just a thing that we were like, this is really cool, and there's a huge opportunity for someone to do this really well in town. So that's what got me into it. Was just like the complexity of flavor. Once you start to get into the nuance, it's like when I was younger, I'd drink Folgers, whatever I could get cheap on Amazon.
Ever have a nice Sanka?
Actually, I've never had Sanka.
Wait, time out. What is a Sanka?
It's instant coffee. It's just like you throw it in water and it
sounds like Star Wars.
Sanka,
it's old school.
Sanka was Greedo's like original trainer.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
Sanka shot first.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're underselling it because like you can have coffee, you can make a business, but from 2015 to 2019, you guys became, I would say the biggest coffee in the city. Like
gods.
Well, Hubbard and Craven's is still very much bigger than us, like big time. So we still think we're pretty small.
I don't recognize Hubbard and Craven's.
We're proud that we've been able to hire people and grow the team and all. Like that's really what you.
Well, I'll say this: when I hear Tinker, I hear, the best coffee in Indianapolis. You got to go Tinker if you're going to go Indianapolis. That's what people say. And and I think that takes a while to build that brand, but you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, we're very quality focused. There's so many different angles that people can take with any product, any way they want to spin like their brand identity or whatever. And we've always just been like, let's find the best coffees that we can get and let's roast them really well and let's take care of the people that we want to take care of or that we can take care of. Meaning like wholesale partners, things like that, those relationships. Because ultimately, like, places like Garden Table, Milk Tooth, all these places that serve our coffee, like, they are incredible representatives of the brand too, So there's a lot to it, but it's ultimately always just quality focused and finding the best coffees we can. And I think we've done a good job with that.
You gotta tinker with it.
Yeah.
You gotta tinker.
Figured it out, man. That's it.
It's right in the name.
So it says right there.
Because and that is a little bit of a joke, but like also it's the fulcrum of our living. Like you gotta tinker with anything to be good, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. Edison didn't make the light bulb the first time, right? He made it the third time, and that he tinkered.
Facts.
With it.
Yeah, you can look it up.
It might have not been the third time. I might be misquoting, but it was roughly after.
Please,
the second,
nobody fact check the thing that I just yelled facts about.
It was roughly after the first or second time he made light, and he tinkered with it, and so that's why I love the name. So
no, that's what we thought. Originally it was like, there's like the stretch of 16th Street that we were originally on. The roastery was originally on was known as Tinker Street back in like the 1800s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's like a Tinker family that existed in Indy.
Oh, okay.
That had like a giant property where Heron High School is now. And so there's actually like a historical landmark sign on Heron High School property that talks about the Tinker Mansion, basically. And the claim to fame is that T.C. Steele, who's a very popular, very well known like landscape portrait artist.
Yeah,
he was the last one to live in that Tinker mansion.
Really?
So that's why, Tinker Street, Tinker House, Tinker Coffee, all these things is because of that stretch of 16th Street.
Time out. It's a mansion that was only 1,500 square feet.
Oh, but no, we weren't in a mansion. The high school was the mansion.
Oh,
I don't even know if that's
okay.
the original structure. To be perfectly honest with you, it might have been torn down.
All right, because I was going to say that's a weak mansion. Trust me, we've lived in mansions before.
Oh, we have, yes.
1,500 square feet
haunted.
is
That's not
nothing.
going to do it.
How fun is it to constantly have to explain the difference between Tinker House, Tinker Coffee, Tinker Street?
I put out the tweet every 18 months, still not Tinker Street Coffee since 2014. I just need to drop it, remind people. It's whatever, I mean, it's annoying, of course, because you just, Tinker Street has done an awesome job, and Tinker House has incredible events. Everybody has has done great jobs independently, and so you don't want anybody to think someone's riding off someone else's coattails or whatever. Everybody has done really great things independently, so you just want to give everybody their shine.
Yeah, there's someone out there I wish you guys would just get back together. I don't know what happened.
Maybe someday.
Make up a feud.
So 2019 happens. You've been wildly successful in the coffee game. You have this budding young podcaster come over and make beignets for you, and you're showing around your warehouse. You have all these plans in late 2019 for expansion, and then a few months later, COVID hits. What did you have on the books planned, and how did you guys have to pivot for when the world fell apart?
Yeah.
Man, the big thing was that the building that we're in now is about 10,000 square feet. The roastery is about 3,500 square feet. There's another 3,500, 3,000 square feet or so that was just warehouse space when you saw it. And the rest was offices that are leased out. And now we have our cupping lab in the building as well. But the original plan was to have a flagship cafe, Starbucks Reserve Roastery, everything top of the line cafe in the roastery. And that would be a really cool place for people to come and experience the coffee, fresh from the roastery.
Yeah.
So we had all the design work done. We have plans. I could show you the plans of what this cafe was going to look like. And once COVID happened, it was all right, let's just time out. Let's just hold up on that and let's see where things go. So we just kind of put it on pause, and then over time, we've gotten busier. We have to buy a lot of cups at a time. We have to buy a lot of oat milk at a time, all these things. And so now the warehouse is storage, which is exactly what we needed.
Oh, wow.
But it's not going to be a cafe, which is fine because we've got the cafe at the Amp. That's really close, So it's a bit of a bummer, of course, it's nice to have something like that in your own space that, you can be really proud of. But sadly, it's just a really practical thing that needed to happen and turn into a warehouse. But it's all good.
And and it's always kind of a bit of bummer to be hey, remember COVID? But
Not for me.
remember the apocalypse that we went through? That's all still very traumatic for all of us. What did that look like for you guys business wise, and how did you guys pivot? Because I know every business had to hunker down into war mode and do some interesting things. And what did that look like for Tinker?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, when prior to COVID, basically our business was 70% wholesale, so selling coffee to restaurants, coffee shops, businesses, whatever. 30% direct to consumer through our website or our subscription, things like that. And during COVID, that just flipped instantaneously. All of a sudden it was no one's going to work, everybody's at home, everybody's just buying stuff online, just nonstop. So we were doing just every day, it was cranking online orders. So that just, that percentage, that breakdown just flips. So it was 60-40 direct to consumer, 40%, wholesale, basically March 20th or whatever it was, So, thankfully for us, my background is in e-commerce. So we had already had a pretty established flow of how that would work, how we would get orders in and get them out. So it was just we just have to spend more time on this now, which is fine. But the infrastructure was there. So that was great. But, it was hard, when you have a really robust wholesale business, that helps to finance a lot of other things in the business, the growth of the business. And it's sad to see people close, and it's sad to see shops that are just I don't know I can't do this anymore. I can't make it happen. Or I don't know when things are going to get back to normal or whatever. I can't be downtown anymore because I don't know when people are going to be back in offices, whatever. So that's sad to see. people, come into a lot of times when people start coffee shops, it's like a dream they've had for a long time, and they want to build this community space. And when something like that out of your control takes it away, it's really sad. But thankfully the people that weren't able to survive through COVID, thankfully it wasn't like I think it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of devastating, but it was still obviously sad.
It was great for us, honestly. Like, we had a good time with it.
I mean,
no, there was a Indie Monthly article where they said that Dyke Michaels was laughing in the face of COVID, and I was like, I was never laughing in the face of COVID.
to be fair, you were laughing. I didn't want to come out and say it, but a lot of reporters are asking, like, was he really laughing? Yes, he was.
Every day.
Because your podcast started blowing up in COVID.
Well, there was a lot of rum also.
Zach, do you have anything to weigh in on this? Did you see him laugh?
I mean, I recorded it.
So was there a laugh?
Each and every week.
Each week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was mostly laughing. Mostly at COVID.
That's even worse than I thought.
Oh, yeah. No, it's exclusively. Yeah.
There's a lot of laughing.
So I love the fact that there's so many different ways to get your product. Like, and I love like the direct to consumer sales, but like I'm old school and like I'm like I need to see something in the wild. Like, so like I love like going to Needlers and then just seeing like the display of all the tight like Tinker logos, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a bag of that.
There you go. Needlers is the pro move because they sell it cheaper than I think we sell it at the roastery.
Little known fact. Well, and for those of people that don't know what Needlers is,
it's a grocery store downtown.
Grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
used to be O'Malley's. That's what my wife calls it. O'Malley's.
The old O'Malley's. But like, so you brought over the cold brew today. I was like, I literally was about to make some regular shitty coffee for you, and then I was like, wait, we got the coffee man coming over.
I got the direct line,
and I was like, can you bring some coffee? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. What do you need?
That makes sense because I did not know. This week was kind of like up in the air. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I didn't know exactly. Like, usually I know exactly who the guest was gonna be, but I was more focused on, hey, we're doing this like Louisiana crawfish thing. And then like you came in the house, and you're like, hey, I brought coffee. I'm like, why did some coffee? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Has he even listened to the podcast? Yeah. I was like, he's like, and then you said Dyke asked me to bring coffee. I'm like, why did Dyke ask someone to bring coffee? And this is all coming together right now.
Yeah, what I normally do is I charge people to come over for a seafood boil, and I go, hey, on your way, can you grab some coffee for everybody?
Yeah, I didn't get it until now. Like,
That is, it's great to meet you. I'm Steve. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, Dyke's not stupid. Okay.
Well, I don't know about that. But I will say this, one of the things that I love is like, I love when like, everyone I know that does cool stuff, I love, like, because I'll take credit for it, like, so like people are out there, and I'm like, the cold brew was out there, and they're like, oh man, I love Tinker coffee, it's so good. And I was like, he's the guy, that's the guy, he makes the coffee, he's right there. And they're like, oh, okay.
Oh shit,
yeah.
To be fair, I don't roast the coffee. I just want to I got to give Jeff his shine.
You never have?
I did a little bit, but you know how it is. Like, I mean, roasting coffee takes a lot of attention to detail and like precision. And I'm one of those people that I'm like, yeah, I can focus for like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, whatever, man. I just float along, So Jeff has a little bit more of a sharper mind.
Yeah. You guys were the first people, and because I'm not, I always feel like I'm a little behind the trends. So like, you guys were the first people to show me a coffee mod bar, and I was just like, oh, what's that? And then all of a sudden I started seeing them like all over TV and all over. Can you explain like what that is?
Yeah, so it's just a really cool espresso machine, basically. The cool thing about them is, I mean, they're this like world-renowned espresso machine now, but it started in Fort Wayne. Like,
oh wow,
Fort Wayne is the genesis of Mod Bar.
What?
So yeah, so it's like, I mean, they're still like, so long story short, basically like when Mod Bar started, La Marzocco, which is a very large espresso machine manufacturer, they like invested a little bit of money into them because they saw the potential, and I believe they acquired like the entirety of the business, maybe 2019, 2018. So like, not everything is still produced in Fort Wayne. It used to be like 100% all manufactured in Fort Wayne. Now I think it's like there's a lot of QC and like bench testing that happens in Fort Wayne. But yeah, it started right here in Indiana, man. So it's just like a really cool espresso machine that basically has like a stereo receiver looking thing under the counter that's got all the boilers in it, and then the actual tap of the espresso machine is above the counter, and same with the steam. So it's just like a super clean countertop machine. Yeah, there you go. Looks awesome.
Gen Z can't stop raving about the Harder Brunch Patreon.
Patreon.com/Harder Brunch slaps.
No cap, the Harder Brunch Podcast is bussin' on God.
Move over, Boomer. Gen Z's here to talk to you about the Harder Brunch Patreon.
Harder Brunch Podcast on Patreon, $3 a month, low-key a steal.
The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass has me bricked up every day.
Listen to these all totally real testimonials.
No, like, I'm getting paid to do this, don't worry. Yeah. No, you think I do this for free? No.
The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass slaps. Sound younger! The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass slaps.
Just go to patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
The Patreon After Brunch Podcast hits different. That shit makes you feel shit.
Hi, and welcome back to the Harder Brunch Podcast. We're here talking to Coffee Czar Steve Hall from Tinker Coffee. So I have a question for you. This is something that I came across, and I really need your expertise because I feel like you're an expert in this field. And I just found this very interesting. And before I even tell you, I don't even want to tell you my take on it. I just want to see your take on it and have you just kind of explain to me how you feel about this thing I'm about to show you.
Okay. I can't wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Casey, if you want to have that queued up. Oh, I think you got to take these off to hear it.
So we're seeing a man.
So this is a coffee adjacent product that I've seen on the internet.
Okay.
It's coffee brew pipe.
Okay.
It's coffee for one person,
Okay.
also known as the Bripe.
Oh, this is James Hoffman.
And then okay.
Is a bribe, and why am I wearing a fake beard?
So now, this is actually not the video by the actual person that made it, but this is kind of a joke. But the Bripe is a product that
I looked at the website and I thought that is a very good.
Is it like a Turkish coffee where it like percolates up and then you sip it off the top? Like, is there coffee grounds in the bottom and then coffee brews to the top?
I think it's almost just like a way to brew like a shot of coffee.
Okay.
So it's like there's like a butane lighter, like there's like a little chef's torch
Okay.
to like kind of heat it up, and then it has like a thermometer that's in it to like know what it's hot enough. Can we maybe fast forward to like actually see it in use? This is, I think, somebody just kind of playing around with. This isn't
This guy is like a very well-known coffee person. He is a very famous coffee man.
And that sort of is to the top of the dome if you didn't want to weigh things. I brought some fresh filtered water from home. We're going to fill this up just to the top.
So he's demonstrating now. So now, here's the thing. I can't tell if he's being serious, like if this is being facetious, if he's just having fun with it, like, or if he's like, this is kind of actually a fun little way to drink coffee. I don't know.
It seems like an insane way to drink coffee.
It seems like the crack version of drinking coffee.
If you want a freebase, this is the way to do it.
He is straight up like just lighting it with a blowtorch, like it's a heroin spoon.
That's crazy. Yeah, so he's blasting this thing with his lighter, and he's gonna get it to boil, or what is it?
Because I'm actually at 180. Come to 185.
Okay, 185. Okay.
I'll give it one more stir. help.
No,
So he's like a normal brew temp, like a 185.
185 is normal brew temp.
Well, let's see. I mean, like you're sending like 200 plus degree water over it, and then the coffee that would be brewed would be around that temp.
And we both breaking. So I'll put this down
Briping.
and relax for a minute. You know?
Right.
We've adequately cooled
It
Okay,
also
so you-
seems like
because I'm ready to bripe. Now, this isn't the first time I've briped. I've briped before. This is
First time.
so. It's like
Is there a
pipe.
filter somewhere?
This isn't the first time I bribed.
It is.
real fair. Whatever has happened, for some reason, my first sip.
I wonder why. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, because it comes down from the bottom, right, where the grounds are.
You would think, yeah.
Screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there is a little screen.
Yeah, I think
okay.
the two you drink.
You didn't
there.
like it.
So it's kind of like, what is that? Like those little straws that you drink, like a not like a matcha, but like yerba mate or something like that, like that
It's
filtered
follow
straw.
the rules. It's a little under extracted for me because this is quite a light roast of coffee, and we were brewing at like 80-ish Celsius. So really, I would have wanted to take this kind of coffee up much hotter, and you get a better brew.
Okay, that's good. So we.
Yeah, you know, this is a really interesting concept.
So I'm not sure how much we've been playing for the audience. So can you kind of recap what you just saw for everybody?
Yes, I can. So this man has an old corncob looking pipe thing. It's like a copper cylinder that he puts coffee in, he puts water in, he blasts the copper with a blowtorch.
Yeah.
It heats up the water and coffee to, he did about 185 degrees, and then he slurps the coffee through a straw that's into the bottom of the copper thing and sucks the coffee out with a little filter screen in front of it.
Now starting off is copper something that you technically want to typically drink coffee out of?
You don't normally see it. It's kind of a cool look for this thing, I guess. I mean, you probably don't impart too much flavor into it. I would imagine, like copper pipes don't really impart too much flavor. So
I don't see a lot of like copper coffee pots, I guess.
No, I mean, but like you think like mocha pot. Like, do you know what a mocha pot is? Or it basically looks like a little baby kettle, and it's very popular in Italy, and that can impart a little bit of metallic flavor to the coffee. So maybe copper is less metallic tasting.
This video looks like it's legal. Like whatever he's doing, he's out in the middle of the woods, and he's like, it looks like he's smoking weed, but like he's bubbling coffee into his stomach.
Yeah.
I feel that you would definitely get in trouble for paraphernalia.
Oh,
if you got
yeah.
arrested with that.
This is just coffee.
This is for white people only. This is not. This is not how.
Not all white people.
Anyone with any melanin in their skin should not be taking coffee this way because it
Bubbly
looks like
gum.
you're making a crack pipe.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna get tased if you drink coffee this way if you're black. This is not a black way to drink coffee at
Also,
all.
I will say, like, so I feel like everyone at some point has known this guy, like the guy that pulls out like the Archimedes pipe to smoke, just like tobacco out of. Sometime, like you're just hanging out, and all of a sudden someone pulls out like a 1800s pipe, like a Sherlock Holmes pipe, and is just like casually smoking, like it's not fucking weird, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's all of that energy mixed with the most pretentious coffee snob. I feel like,
And it's not even good looking coffee. It's like you're not even like, this is a really great way to brew a cup. It's like, this is a shitty way to brew a little bit of coffee.
a little bit. Little bit. It's not even a cup full of coffee. It's like a shot and a half.
Yeah.
I think this is for the people that have the like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. Like this is like the crackhead version of that.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Don't talk to me till I freebase my coffee in the woods.
Aaron, go back to bed.
Where God can't see me.
Daddy's doing something. Go back to bed. Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
Yeah, if you're ever considering the Bripe, just get a fucking AeroPress, man.
Yeah.
I'm a bright guy.
This is someone on day 3 of sober September.
Oh, that's so perfect. I can't even top that one. Let's give that applause. That was really good.
Okay. Well, thank you. You don't know how long I've been waiting for you to chime in on this.
I've honestly, I can't believe this is like never, like no one ever shared this like in the group Slack channel, like how ridiculous this thing is. I've never seen this. This is so great.
So I still feel like he's kind of just like testing it, kind of making fun. It's like a nod, right? the guy who actually came up with it looks like a cross between like Zeus and God the Bounty Hunter, you know, like God the Bounty Hunter. That's sorry, I just made a punchline to my own joke, guys. No, but like he's like real serious about it, and he's just like, yeah, this is the best way to drink coffee. Oh my God, you can't believe how good this is to drink coffee. And like that is the parody version. The real version, he's just like very sincere. And I was just like, I need to talk to an expert.
I'm intrigued by it. I want to try it. I'd love to have a little sip.
Can we do that? Like sometime we'll all get together and
bripe it out.
Bubble coffee.
Bripe it up.
Yeah.
Be Bright Brothers.
Bright Boys.
Bright Boys.
Yeah, Bright Boys.
Zach, what do you think? Bright Brothers or Bright Boys? Alt Bright?
Yeah.
There you go.
That one, definitely.
Look at this guy just like walking around in the woods with his like, oh, a little sip. Let me take a little top off.
Oh, this might be the guy. Does he look like no? Okay.
Oh wait, why is he closing his eyes like that? That made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about this guy.
This is the actual company. The actual company takes it real seriously, and they're like, yeah, this is how you should drink coffee.
No.
This is how like there's no like there's no
This guy.
Listen, if you have a lot of white privilege and you don't know what to do with it, drink coffee the most difficult way. If you thought French press were hard, this one's gonna boil your brain. It's gonna look like you're smoking crack.
This looks like LL Bean for white privilege. Like,
yeah. Like lacrosse is like, can we get in on this? Like, can we sponsor this?
He's like taking a hit. He's like, have you never had to think about anyone but yourself? Take a bribe.
take a bribe. Go in the middle of the woods where no one can see you, because people are going to ask, "What is this?" They're too poor to bribe like you. Now that kind of does look good.
$89.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. $89 to bribe.
Wait, I thought we saw an Amazon link where you could get the burner, this thing, in for $20. What's going on here?
Listen, I don't
Some
cuss,
markup.
Steve. I don't cuss that often, but if you have a $89 bright budget per week, go fuck yourself. Not you though, because you're in the coffee.
Yeah, there's one said. Oh, can we get right here? This is the inventor and co-founder. This is what we need to see right here.
Okay.
This gentleman right here. First of all, he's having a good time. He's out in the woods. This guy.
He does kind of look like Zeus. You're
Yeah,
right.
that is God the Bounty Hunter, right? Now that you see it, it's funny.
People have to watch a YouTube video for this because
We'll put up a link, but this guy is
A little bit of coffee,
Okay.
he's in the
a little bit of water.
he's pouring water out of a flask first of all.
Just blast it with your lighter.
Yeah.
what is going on?
See, this is why I'm saying this is white people stuff, because you can't be like, pour booze into a crack pipe and no one's gonna ask any questions.
It's for like 2 sips of coffee.
$89. $89.
Oh, yeah, it's
Go
good stuff.
to hell.
Anywhere on any rock, at the top of any summit.
But he does look like the kind of guy that would steal your grandma, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Because after all, after everything you've done, after everything you've
He looks like the guy that he was the first F boy, you know, like, off the assembly line.
He looks like the guy that'd be like, ACDC wasn't that bad.
He's like the fourth Tiger King. What the fuck?
Like all these people, they look like the cool members of the Duck Dynasty.
Yeah. They got
hippie
kicked out of the
brother.
Duck.
Yeah, went to California.
we gotta stop looking at that. Oh my goodness.
That's a Bripe endorsement for me. I'm
It
going
is
to not endorse
that
product.
Harder Brunch, take your coffee at all of our affiliates.
Listen, if you want us to
endorse
bribe, we will bribe. If you pay us money to bribe, we'll bribe. I want Steve. I want to bribe with you, man.
We can bripe it out.
We can bribe it out in the woods.
Yeah. Of
We'll
course.
go. Me, you, Dyke, Zach. We're all gonna. Would you bribe Zach?
Oh, absolutely.
It's $89.
I'm not paying to bribe.
Yeah,
like you said, we would be sponsored for this. That means we get paid to bribe. Absolutely.
Okay, if we get paid to bribe, we're going to
But
bribe.
there is an exclusivity about paying $100 to drink 2 sips of coffee. Like there is like a rarefied air, you know, like
It is like, what is that? Those eggs that are kind of fancy?
Fabergé eggs.
Caviar. Wow. Briping is the caviar.
Like double egg.
Yeah.
It's like having caviar.
I would feel bad if I was the one that got you into Briping and it like ruined your life.
Yeah. I can't quit.
No one could take you seriously anymore. Like he can't even drink coffee except out of that weird crack pipe.
Listen, guys, if you're watching this, do not bripe at home. No. Briping at home, it could ruin your life. I want to bripe with Alan Sternberg too.
Kids under 25, please don't start briping.
Yeah,
it's a PSA.
Don't stop. Vape instead, please.
So I guess this kind of brings me into another weird question, but I feel like you're again professional. When you talk about the appropriate temperature for making coffee, what is that typically? Because they were saying they were doing it at what temperature?
They were brewing the water to 185.
185? And what is your ideal?
I don't know. I generally do somewhere between 205 and 210.
Oh,
like if I'm
okay.
doing a pour over, that's where I would get my water.
Well, they can't get that hot because they're using a butane.
The copper just won't allow it. Yeah. No, but I would say like if you're doing a pour over, anywhere from 202 to 210 is generally where you'd want to be. For drip coffee, brewers generally would be set somewhere between 200 and 205.
Now, how do you feel about the whole McDonald's burnt crotch lawsuit fiasco? Because I've heard all different sides over a large amount of years, and then like most recently they were saying the brew was just too hot. The McDonald's kept their coffee too hot for human consumption.
Yeah, well, everybody should be pretty aware at this point that coffee is a hot beverage. So like just let it chill for a bit. Like that's like you don't get coffee and immediately just drink it. You know, like most people I feel like get that.
But usually like 200 degrees doesn't cause 3rd-degree burns.
No, and you're not going past, but like there's no way the water was 220 and being brewed like it was probably in a burner that was too hot.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
That's all good.
If you are getting your lap burnt by going to McDonald's and getting coffee, it's spilled on her lap. There's pictures of her 3rd-degree burns melting into her bones, right? And it's graphic. McDonald's has money. Pay that money, all right? I don't care what race you are.
Okay. Well, I didn't think it was going to go racial. But
it wasn't a race. It was a white lady that got her lap burnt.
I mean, I will say,
and McDonald's had big lawyers to fight against that. Pay the bills. And there's also multiple people getting their laps burnt. All right, I'm sorry. I watched a documentary, and it made me mad. McDonald's, you serve fake food. I'm talking to you, McDonald's. Serve fake food, and you burn white ladies' laps. Stop it. Stop.
Anytime you have an opportunity to sue McDonald's for millions of dollars, you should sue McDonald's for millions of dollars.
I need you to be on my side.
Do it. Yeah, I'm fully in support of that. But don't sue us for ever burning your lap with coffee.
Just drink it at the regular temperature, right?
Just give it a minute, please.
People that go to McDonald's... Never mind, I'm not even going to go there.
McDonald's is good, though, right?
No.
I mean, I'll eat.
Would you rather eat Harder Brunch or McDonald's? Be honest, right now.
Right now, Harder Brunch.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you only had the seafood boil. You didn't even come for a regular brunch.
That's what I'm saying.
I do have a question for you because this is something that I like to think about for no reason at all. Except I like to. It takes a lot of bandwidth up for me. The shittiest coffee. Let's talk about shitty coffee for a minute.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Because I think there are layers to shitty coffee, and I want to know what your ranking is, because when I think about shitty coffee, I think about typically, I want to say bank coffee.
Oh,
bank.
Yeah.
Like the coffee you get at the bank.
Okay.
I think about like car dealership coffee might be the worst coffee.
Yep.
Factory coffee.
Any factory coffee, but bank
is upsetting.
Car dealership or like change your
Change
oil.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I don't know if I can think of any worse coffee than that. That's maybe the worst coffee I've ever had.
Yeah. What about doctor's office coffee?
Your doctor's office has coffee?
Mine does.
Does it? I don't think that's
the type of doctor I see.
Voodoo
has coffee. Yeah.
Is it the Haitian coffee?
I'm not going to say yes or
in
no.
In a voodoo hut.
This is not behind the Patreon, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
Okay, all right.
If you want to find out if I do voodoo, go to our Patreon for $3.
But yeah, so that's what that was my kind of guess for the worst coffee. But and I think I understand why. But what would you say your pick for the worst coffee is, or what's your rating?
I mean, airplane coffee is pretty bad. Airplane coffee is probably the worst, just because my guess is that they don't clean anything, and like anything that coffee's being served in is probably pretty dirty.
Yeah.
So that's not going to help. But coffee that's in those situations, gas station, hospital, doctor's office, whatever, it's going to be probably like under extracted and burnt. So it's like has no flavor and is also like really bitter or just too strong, but no body. It's tough out there, man.
So what let's reverse engineer that for our listeners at home. I know what you're talking about, but for our listeners at home, what is the ideal situations for like kind of quick, or not quick, but what's the ideal situation for extraction of a flavorful coffee? And then what is ideal hot holding, I guess, of coffee?
So the biggest thing with extraction is good grind. So like we always tell people, if you're going to be brewing coffee at home or wherever, like invest the money in a grinder. Like you can brew coffee in a Mr. Coffee that's 20 years old that you got from your grandparents. But like if you have a pretty good grinder, that's going to produce a reasonably good product. So yeah, good grinder will help even your extraction out and help you extract more flavor from that coffee. So good grinder first and foremost. And then for hot serving or hot holding, like generally people would just say like don't go more than an hour with coffee, in like an hour. Well, that'd be kind of like
brewing?
ideal. Like within an hour, that coffee should be thrown away. So only brew, like if you're a coffee shop, like brew a liter a bunch of times versus brewing 2 gallons and letting it sit for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because coffee starts to oxidize over time. So the best way I can describe it is like, if you have this like really great, vibrant, fruity, whatever coffee, within that first hour, you'll get a lot of those flavor experiences. Yeah. And then after that, it'll probably just start to taste like raisiny, kind of like anything. So it just oxidizes.
Well, I think that people also don't realize, I don't know where the disconnect is, but I don't think people realize that like coffee is a bean. And when you roast it, the longer you roast it, the darker it is. And the more like you're taking it to a burnt, just like anything else that you're cooking, you're taking it to a more burnt thing. So I feel like the thing used to be people were like, I want the darkest roast possible. And like a darkest roast is like, well, you're flirting with burnt, you know? Like, and so like, that's why I've always been like, I kind of like a lighter roast. Is that what a breakfast roast is usually typically?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know exactly what breakfast.
No one does, do they?
It's kind of like I think this is a little bit lighter body, but like the more you roast coffee, like as you roast heavier, like that makes all of the coffee, all the particles like inside the coffee, it's easier to extract those out of the bean if it has a heavier roast profile on it. So like in general, you're going to brew something that's a little bit like heavier bodied, a little stronger if the roast is darker. So when you're in that medium to light roast range, you might sacrifice a little bit of body, but you're going to get a lot more of that like those interesting elements to the coffee versus just like the roasty, carbony stuff that you're going to impart when you roast too long.
It was like we went camping last week and Zach kept burning all of his food. Like we were making these pies and Zach just kept burning his pies.
It was embarrassing.
And then Thad was undercooking the pies.
Well,
I made the perfect pies.
I did not undercook the pie, and I want to say this.
Cook the pie.
I did not cook the pie.
I will take burnt over what you did.
Your pie was like still alive.
No, your pie was shit.
His pie was great.
And I don't cuss. I'm sorry,
Dyke's pie
Steve.
was shit.
Yeah.
It was shit. It was burnt.
Yeah.
No one likes that.
You're
Mine
cussing
wasn't.
in front of the guest. I can't
Mine
believe.
wasn't. I have a video of mine.
No, yours was burnt. You spilled
it's not.
eggs on the ground.
Had nothing
my
to do
friend.
with the pie. Had nothing to do with the pie.
Listen, Steve, my
kind of
pie
pies
was.
are you making?
He
my
made a
pie.
sloppy, oily pie. A sloppy, oily pie. Does
It
that
was-
sound good?
Here's the thing. No, my pie was. It was.
Sloppy
And oily.
and oily.
You sprayed both sides of the bread.
It was butter.
It was not butter. It was spray.
I can't believe it's not butter because it's spray.
Okay, it was oily. All right, there was a little oil to the texture, but it was warm.
Have you ever made campfire pies before?
I never have. I'm
Just
so
white
curious
bread
about this.
and spray and no heat.
So we have like two, like they're basically like the cast iron pie irons, and they're like a square or circle shaped. And then you take pieces of bread and you can fill it full of whatever you want, and then you put it in the fire and then it cooks it. And like the ones I used to have would make a perfect circle, and it was like a little pie. You'd butter both sides, and you could put like, we would do like dessert stuff. Like we would put like marshmallow, chocolate, whatever. But like basically s'mores, but in pie form. You eat it and it's hot pie. But you can make savory ones. But these were like square, so it was basically like making a grilled cheese or whatever. But yeah, dads were terrible. And I wanted you to know that.
It's good to, you can only go up from here.
Steve, they didn't try my pie. They just watched me enjoy it and got jealous.
You greedily ate that entire soft pie in front of everybody. It was
Because the other choices was charred coal. That's all I had to choose from. I was like, I know the fire's hot. It's been burning for a while. You stick it in there, you pull it out, just like other things.
Yeah, what other things you talking about?
Just like microwaves, ovens.
Yeah. You put stuff in the microwave and take it out
You
halfway?
stick it in. You
when
pull
it's
it out.
oily and soft.
And it only takes a minute.
Here's the thing. I like my pastries soft. I've always liked them soft, and I'm not fading away from that.
Okay. What? I don't have a good segue for that. I wish I did.
Well, I'm just excited to hear more about your growth with pies.
I'm doing well.
What did you do before you got into the coffee game? I know you said you said you did some online commerce.
Yeah. So first thing out of college, I sold wine. I was a wine salesman.
Okay.
So I went around. I was in Boston for a year and then Chicago for a year, just slanging wine all over town. So that provided me with a lot of sensory training. You know, I had to drink a lot of wine. I had to taste a lot of wine and sell wine. So that developed my palate. But then I went to business school, and then after business school, got a job with an e-commerce company down in Greenwood called One Click Ventures. That we would acquire different websites and then spin them up into new businesses and market them, and yeah. So I learned a lot of just the digital marketing side of things through that.
What is the? I like to ask you this every 3 years. What is the future of Tinker Coffee?
Well, we signed a lease on a new cafe downtown. So we will have a new coffee shop downtown probably early next year or so. Nice. So that's exciting. Yeah, we're going through design work on that now. And then, more cafes is the plan. We've got 2 at the airport. We've got our roastery. We've got cafe at the AMP. So now it's just, finding the right spots over town. You don't want to... Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about, I forget the name, Blank Street Coffee in New York, and how this upstart coffee shop is putting all these coffee shops next to established coffee shops. And it's that's not what we want to do. You want to find areas where a good coffee shop could kind of exist on its own and not just provide, because coffee shops play an important role in local, smaller local, micro economies, I think.
Yeah.
They're such a good place for people to gather, and you don't want to disrupt that. So
My question is, who is in charge of the design? Because I think coffee shops, it's really important to go in there and have a good feel. Is that a you thing, or do you have a team that's hey, this is what we want people to feel when they walk into the coffee shop?
It's a little bit of both. So we work with Solid State a lot, which is Lauren Bohal's company. He's got a few other folks involved with him as well, and they do really incredible design work and really good material design work. So we're working with them on this. So it's a bit of we'll have a big folder where everybody just throws inspiration into I thought this was cool. Can we incorporate this maybe? So there's a lot of inspiration from the team, and then the folks that actually know how to design spaces put it together.
Okay, that's awesome.
Well, I gotta thank you so much for being on the program today. I gotta tell you this. in all seriousness, my favorite coffee in the world.
Thank you,
And I like to know that it's being run by good people. You know,
appreciate it.
I would drink it if it was run by bad people, though. I gotta say, I'd be like, if I found out that you guys kick dogs, I'd be like, well, you know, like, what were those dogs doing? You know, like,
no, we would never do that. We're very dog friendly.
Dog friendly. You guys don't kick dogs to get
We don't
coffee.
do that. No.
Real quick, I know you're about to close, but I do want to ask: have you heard about the batshit coffee or the cat poop coffee?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that you guys would consider getting into? And for the listeners, there's coffee that's made out of bat shit and cat shit. That's the most professional way I can say it.
So you're just asking if he's thought about getting into the feces game.
Have you tried it, and would you consider it?
I have tried it.
You've tried cat shit?
Yeah, so it's called Kopi Luwak. That's the name of the marsupial.
Excuse me.
That eats it and shits it out.
Yeah.
And don't buy it, please, because most situations it's a bunch of animals in cages that they make eat coffee beans and poop them out and they grab them. So don't buy that. Don't buy
they make the animals eat coffee beans.
It's not great. You can imagine like the animal welfare rules in like these other countries that produce it are not super stringent. So please don't buy that.
Well, it's more meta than I thought.
Yeah. Don't do that.
But
it does. It does like supposedly has
good.
some like mitigating effect on the acid of the coffee.
So you're saying it does taste good though?
It tasted fine. It tasted fine.
It's expensive.
I feel like we could.
It's overpriced.
I feel like we could test this out with Cody at home. We can like feed him a little bit of. I'm just kidding, guys. This is a comedy show.
I don't think he was actually joking.
Let's talk off mic.
That's the question you want to ask me off mic?
No. How do I feed my dog more coffee? But I don't want the police getting involved. Drop a beat for me. Oh my goodness. Steve-Al, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. And also like rolling with the punches with how silly we're being.
This was a blast. Thank you guys.
Where can people find and follow everything that you're doing coffee-wise on social media?
Tinker Coffee, at Tinker Coffee. Tinker Coffee Co. on Twitter. But yeah, hit us on the internet. Love to see you.
Oh, is this the marsupial guy?
That's it. Look at them. They're very cute.
Oh, yeah. I don't want that guy being abused. He's beautiful. Zach Roan, what you got?
At Zach_Roan on all social medias.
Daddy's Jake.
You can find me at CSC. I am doing this new venture. It's called Cat Shit Coffee. The cats, we do not force them to eat the beans. We let them choose between cat food and beans, and usually they go for the beans because they get hit if they eat the cat food. But anyways, it's going pretty good. It's good coffee. Please try it out.
Just for the record, that's completely separate from our guest today. That's Thaddeus' own adventure. At Dyke Michaels on all social media. We also have a comedy podcast that I feel like we kind of ventured into some After Brunch territory today.
Yeah, we did.
But it's only $3. Patreon.com/Harder Brunch. If you don't have $3, maybe like root around in your couch. It's probably there. I mean, $3 or in your car. It's probably on your car. It's only $3, and then you get a hilarious bonus comedy podcast every week from your boys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.